We got it.
I waited long enough.
There we go. Can you hear my dog in the back? She just,
Yeah, I like your dog. What's your dog's name again?
Luna.
Luna.
She has the moon face. We call it half black face, half white face of my dog is in the background here. But instead of blacks and whites, we're talking about reds and greens this week with the painting Three Green Pears. But we actually have a slightly different topic today. Seamus, you had a few things you wanted to talk about. Would you like to kick us off?
Sure. Yeah, the first one is kind of like a little housekeeping thing,
Sure.
and it's about social media. So I've been on Twitter for years. That's one of my platforms, and I'm moving off that to Mastodon.
Cool.
So if you're on Mastodon, and if you're not, join it. It's fabulous. It's way better than Twitter. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of people on there, and
Yeah.
it's a really clean interface. So just to let
Cool.
people know about that.
Would you call it artful?
Yeah, there's actually a lot. So somebody today, for example, just had their account is Mary Cassatt, and they've been posting a lot of Mary Cassatt's paintings, which is of course one of my favorite painters of all time.
Beautiful. It does sound
Yep,
fun.
totally. Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you for updating us. You had another topic that you mentioned you might want to delve into. You had talked about, and in our past conversations, you've talked about a practice of gratitude. And you mentioned not only a practice of gratitude, but how could one have a practice of beauty or a practice of seeing beauty in your day-to-day experience? Could you share some about that with us?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question, because it's really a very cool question. Like, what's beauty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's always crossed my mind. It's like, okay, I find some things that I strike me as they're beautiful. And like that saying goes is beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
So that's something important to recognize, right? It's actually not out there. That's it's crazy. Beauty is actually not out there. There are certainly things out there in the world that we see, or whatever way we perceive the beauty. It could be visually or whatever.
Right.
By audio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or smell or taste, any of the sensations, we might experience something beautiful. But really, where we experience beauty is inside. And that's the thing that's kind of, I think, worthwhile pondering.
Can you explain what you mean by that? We experience it inside.
Well, I think that's what that phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, is all about. It's pointing to, there are things out there, right? And they're just whatever they are. They might be a painting, a tree, a sunset, or whatever. Where I'm experiencing beauty, where any one of us experience beauty, is our own internal experience.
Okay.
Right? Your experience of beauty happens within you.
Almost like you're saying, the way I experience it, or my almost emotional reaction to beauty, or maybe someone might say it's not emotional, but it's a reaction, right? Would you agree?
I think generally it is. And this is another good piece to this. Is it a reaction so that it's not a response? Like, we don't necessarily choose it. And then the question becomes, what do we see as beautiful? Mm-hmm. Like, we all have our own certain concepts of what beauty is. Like, okay, I might see beauty in a face that says, that's my prescribed definition of beauty. But really, is it true? How much of my sense, my reaction, as you just said, to what I'm seeing that evokes this sense of beauty is really my choice, or how much is it, this is just what I've been trained culturally, I've absorbed from my parents, the society, the culture, whatever. And then, of course, there's all the nuances of male, female, age, the whole
Totally,
thing.
a lot of factors.
A lot of factors. But then going to your point of it's a reaction, it was occurring to me that beauty, when we experience beauty, is generally a very pleasant experience, right? It's like, nice. I'm seeing beauty in whatever way it is. It's a beautiful, the reaction is generally a pleasant experience.
Yeah, positive.
Yeah. And then I connected that with this thing of being grateful as a practice, right? So, okay, I can say, well, I'm grateful for stuff. But if I intentionally during the day take a moment to say, what am I grateful for today?
Yeah.
It's very different, right? To bring these things to mind. And it actually tends, in my experience, and I think other people that I practice with have this sense of when I stop to intentionally think about what I'm grateful for, it really changes my day. You know, all the like whatever's going on in the day, it's like I got to do this, I got to do that, or things are bad, or all, whatever. But no matter what's going on, if I take a moment to just stop to be grateful, it really has this little shift. It really just creates like, oh yeah, there's that. Okay, switching to beauty though.
Okay.
The practice of seeing beauty. So rather than waiting for something that arrives on my screen, right? That I say, oh, that's beautiful, which may or may not happen during a day.
Right.
If I stop for a moment and look around and see if I can intentionally see beauty in what I'm looking at.
Oh, that's interesting that you brought in that dimension of intentionally seeking or looking for.
Yes. So I'm going to look around to see what, first of all, to recognize what I'm perceiving. And then it is, how do I see that as beautiful? Did I ever mention to you about one of my first experiences of breaking down the barriers or breaking down the preconceived concepts of what beauty are, what beauty is? Do we talk about that?
Not on Instagram.
Okay. Should we talk about it?
Sure.
So, okay, so I was running the Tao Society of Portrait Artists for a number of years, which was every Saturday finding a model.
Okay.
Male, female, whatever. It was anybody that wanted to come and model for us here in Taos. And I remember one Saturday, someone else had found the model. And I'm going to say this, I'm sheepish to admit that I was not pleased with the appearance of the model.
Okay.
Right? It's like, like, why would anybody choose this person to come model?
Sure.
Because I was seeing that person with my preconceived idea of beauty is A, B, C, and D. So that was my reaction. Just as you said, it was my reaction to what I was seeing. Not intentional.
Yeah. Like the person wasn't your type. Let's be honest. Like we all have that in us.
True. Yeah. But then the question, of course, getting back to that question of like, how did we decide, or did we actually decide what our type is? Or was that just...
That's a whole other video.
It is.
But yes, yeah.
But just to get to the point of what happened during this modeling session is, and this also relates to art as a way to increase our awareness, is that the shackles, I'd almost call them, of my preconceived notion of beauty is this, this, and this, right?
Yeah.
Went away. And all of a sudden, this person that I perceived as not beautiful became extraordinarily beautiful.
And is that in the process of like sitting down and opening your mind to this person, or in the process of like looking and painting and creating this piece?
Exactly what you just said, the latter
Okay.
of in painting or any artistic endeavor, that we're looking to represent what we're seeing. So like really intentionally looking, what am I seeing? You know, what's the shape? What are the placement of the eyes, the nose, the mouth, all those features, and then working to recreate that on the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to, as we talked about before, move everything from my left brain, which is my preconceived notions about how things are, to the right brain, to just seeing things as they are.
Oh. Sounds like a huge shift in an experience or interpretation,
It is. And
perception.
now getting back to the whole idea of a practice of that, it's like sometimes, for example, I might be at the kitchen sink and I'm washing a dish and the sunlight's coming through the window. And it's just noticing the way the light falls on the cup.
Oh.
Right? Something totally ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
But if I bring to that moment, to that visual perception that I'm seeing, and consider what's beauty, it can change. It could change my state. It really literally can change my state of mind,
Mm-hmm.
where I can go from, I'm just washing the dishes, to, the experience of awe, the experience of beauty.
Of enjoying something beautiful, it sounds like.
Totally. And maybe even it is the idea of reconnecting with how we saw as children.
Oh.
Before we got all the trappings.
Layers.
Yep.
The clutter on top.
Yeah. It's clutter, but useful. We need to be able to function in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Do we want to talk anymore? That seems like a kind of nice place to stop with this juxtaposition of gratitude and beauty.
I think so. But you know what? I'm going to actually talk about that painting from this past week.
Oh, what do you got behind you there, Seamus?
Yeah, because I want to mention that on Instagram, on Facebook,
yeah,
somebody looked at this painting and they said what they were most drawn to was this space right here.
Oh.
Right? So, right, I'll just zoom it in. Just that one space.
Yeah.
But I thought, that's cool, because that's exactly what we're talking about. It's like, when I'm looking, am I aware of what I'm noticing? And will that then evoke, when I bring that intentionality, will that evoke a sense of beauty?
Great question. Can you show us Three Green Pears one more time? It's a part of the series Reds and Greens that we've been sharing this month. That's really fascinating to me that person zeroed in on that area. There's
Totally.
so many pockets of color and contrast in this one that my eyes go to, and honestly, I hadn't really looked in on that or zeroed in on that one space, so that I find that fascinating.
Very fascinating, and I hadn't either.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, oh, they noticed that. That is for them something worth noting.
And I love that you brought to my attention that when we were talking about the three pairs, my eyes go to, this is a 2-pair painting. Wait a second, where's that third little hiding one?
And yeah, of course, that's part of what the painting was about, right? Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else you want to share today, or feeling good?
No, thanks.
All right.
And
thanks as always.
People that joined us.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back soon with more Artful Awareness.